Captain's Log, Subdate 200807.6. Visual contact has been established with the new sub. It looks lethal. In fact, it looks identical to the USS Defiant from Deep Space Nine. I am very happy with this, and docking has already begun. Welcome everyone to This Week at Twitter. This will be, for the foreseeable future, the final video done in the Lovecraft 01, as we are about to dock with the USS Moistly Defiant. If a better name can be thought of, please let me know. I'll have it etched into the outer hull. Next week's videos are going to look a little bit different. Very exciting times though, with quarantine over! Yay! Kind of. To start, we go to Emily Swaven, who says, "Men, if a woman accuses you of that, even if you didn't do it, you shut up. You accept the charges. Women have been systematically oppressed for years, and you giving up some years of your freedom doesn't compare to the oppression they've been through." I've seen tweets like this in the past, oddly enough, and they were pose. I'm not entirely sure if it is the same with Emily or not. For the sake of it, I firmly will always believe in due process and innocent until proven guilty. Therefore, simply accepting when someone accuses you of the four-letter crime I will not mention or show because seriously I don't want to get demonetized, is not the correct way of correcting the mistakes of the past. How's that? Nice middle ground for you. Prove they did it first. And to be clear, under current year kind of rules and laws, nobody should have to give up their freedom because of an accusation. An accusation is only that. It has to be proven. I feel like I've just gone back and said the same thing twice. Oh well. Next, we go to Wholesome Angie, who says, "If you're a map and your parents don't accept you, good." So I'm not overly fond of the term map in the first place, as it's that kind of attempt to legitimize somebody based on the idea that they have a preference. No, you have a condition that needs to be treated. Some would say through the art of a short drop and a sudden stop. Others would say psychological treatment, because the moment you cross the line, you're no longer a minor attracted, you are a S.O. Won't take you long to work that one out. But if your family don't accept you for being the way you are in that particular context, I can fully understand and appreciate why they would want nothing to do with you. And it is on you, the onus is on the person who identifies as a map to get help before you cross a line. This is Mike Zilla. This is also Cognitive Thought's brother. Cognitive Thought and his brother have been having a little online back and forth. I'm not going to get into the semantics of that as it goes down the path of flagging, and I have no vested interest in that. I'm more interested in people behaving a certain way online to then try and act tough, while acting a certain way, of course, to then say, "Control freaks, I will block anyone I effing like." Do you understand? If you're salty about it, take a look at yourself. You're a mess. And also saying, "Chat blank, get blocked." You're so tough, you can't take the criticism. That's really interesting and very telling. I say this as somebody who has no one blocked, because blocking is what I believe a pussy does. Muting, by the way, Mike, is a far simpler mechanic. Might I recommend you do that instead, so you don't look like that very famous song Cog did on Monday Matt, Bishmaid. Yes, you're Bishmaid. Next we go to KW Miller for Congress, who says, "I'm a real man, and I don't have nipple rings. Look at you, creepy Governor Cuomo." Now I think it's one of those interesting things where you could hammer Cuomo over many, many things. How he's handled coronavirus especially. And I say that having spoken to a number of people who live in New York who are Democrat and take issue with Cuomo. It can be argued because of how he's handled a whole host of things to protect his state. You could hammer him in there, but no. It's the nipple rings that really set one out as a beta male, I guess. To be clear, Piercings, tattoos, other alterations you want to make, a split tongue perhaps, very stretched ears, whatever you want to go with, it doesn't matter. You could have dermal piercings or those weird implants that make you look like you've got horns. Doesn't matter. I guess it does in some places, of course. Last thing you want is a man that looks like a cat as your president at this present moment in time. Give it another 50 years, I'm sure you'll be ready to embrace the lizard men. But it is not how one defines oneself as a real man. The term is subjective and has changed over the years. Before we continue, a big thank you to Pure Madness 1 for tweeting this one to me. Comes courtesy of Red, who was retweeted by a man called Cthulhu is Lord. Red had tweeted, I think we should rename welfare to Bureau of Reparations, problem solved. To which Cthulhu has said, as a white person, that's weird, who has benefited from welfare from time to time, I heartily welcome you, go duck yourself. Apparently, Cthulhu does not do jokes. Red has retweeted this by saying she has a husband, but thank you for the offer. I did spend a little bit of time perusing Red's tweets. I can understand why many would take great offence to what Red says. But you, Cthulhu is Lord, are doing me and my father no favours. Change your name. You make me sick. There has been a debate on Twitter going on for a few days now concerning cis and trans, two separate words that can be traced back to Latin if you want. However, over the years on YouTube, Twitter, most social media in fact, the word cis has become almost a pejorative. Many don't want to assign that to themselves or have it assigned to them by others because of the negative connotations, because of its misuse. Many don't like having labels placed upon them because it is down to the individual to make that decision for themselves. So when Field Marshal Anna Slatz tweets this out, which led to some dumb American tweeting this in response, which then got her into a bit of a discussion with Ranting Monkey about what is and is not trans, is and is not cis. My view on it is, you don't tell people what they are. You never tell them what they are. Proof of that is when you earlier in a tweet underneath, some dumb American that is, underneath your retweet of Anna Slatz, somebody asks about if you're not trans and cis, you yourself accept that you cannot assign an identity to that person, but you in the very first retweet have done that. Not being drawn in on the whether or not someone is or is not cis or is not trans, is or is not non-binary, and whether or not they are trans because of that as well, as it gets quite murky quite fast. Also heated. So next we go to David Hogg, and for this I should thank Undoomed, because he tweeted out two images from two separate tweets a few months apart, and they paint quite a damning picture of David Hogg. The first tweet comes from March 25th, 2020. TikTok is a national security threat that should only be used to call out the Chinese government who controls it for their atrocities and human rights abuses. Seriously, y'all memes and jokes are fun, but downloading the spyware of an authoritarian regime is not. I'm not kidding, we need to cancel TikTok. Let's now skip ahead to the 1st of August 2020. Imagine being so scared teenagers are going to vote you out. You ban one of their top platforms for communication, something which has now gone through with an executive order. I believe Microsoft were given a deadline to try and buy the US wing of it. F for TikTok? David Hogg, it's nice to see you have all the conviction and backbone of an elastic band. So to our final story, and for this we've got our random block of the week, Akilah Hughes, who I've never tweeted to, never engaged with. In fact, the only thing I know about her is that she took Sargon of Akkad to court after the 2016 US presidential election, where he took one of her videos, clipped it, memed it, and showed the context, and she claimed $150,000 for lost earnings for a dying channel. She then went on to go through two legal teams, and even when told not to, she decided to tweet out about all of this, getting quite angry, quite aggressive, losing to Sargon in the first case of punitive damages or whatever, and then Sargon countersued her for legal fees, which she lost again. He gets 38 grand. Nice. Do you even have that money, Akilah? To which she then went off on one on Twitter, blaming everyone, including YouTube, for promoting him, even though she was a player in him losing his Patreon and his major earnings on the site. Possibly YouTube as well. Did she get demonetized here? But apparently he's also a white supremacist. Aquila, you lost. Take the L, please. You're doing more damage to yourself. Somebody else sent me all the screenshots for all the tweets. I'll link them down below. I'm merely passing on some advice. As with all things we cover here, I'd love to know what you think was the stupidest thing from this week's twat. Please do let me know in the comments down below. I shall be streaming on Moisky Live and also on Twitch. If I don't see you there tonight, have a cracking Friday and subsequent weekend, and thank you all for listening.